This is a piece of maple from a prior project. What I'm doing here is I'm going to square up the sides just so I can get it square enough that I can resaw it. I need to make a couple of panels for the clock. Now that it's squared up, I go ahead and I start cutting out the panels, and I cut out 2 of them so I can glue them together to get the right size panel. Here's me gluing them up. After they dry, I scrape them off, and then I'm going to run them through the planer just to get them flat. This walnut is actually going to become the frame of the clock. It had some checking in it, so I decided it would be best used. What I'm going to do is cut out a groove to put the panel into, and that's what I'm doing in the next couple of scenes. You'll notice I'm trying to sneak up on it so I don't get it too loose. I want it a little bit so it can expand, but I do want it tight enough that it's not going to fall out. Then I cut the maple panel down to size. Now it's time to set up my table saw for the miters. I use this digital angle finder to do that. Now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the project, sanding. I went through all the grits on the panel and the frame portion. You can see here I had to get a little aggressive with the sanding on the frame as there was some burnout from a dull saw blade. I ended up having some difficulty gluing the frame together. I tried to use the corner clamps. Had 4 of them, but 2 of them broke. You'll see them off to the side there. So I could only do 1 corner at a time, but it worked out in the end. Right here I'm trying something different. I'm going to use hodgepodge to transfer over the images that I want on the front of the clock. This was a little bit more difficult than I thought, and it took a lot to get that paper back off. Once I got the paper off, I put the panel into the frame, and then I clamped it down. You'll notice on the back there, you'll see where the clock cutout is. I chiseled that out a little bit. Probably could have done a little bit better job. Then I started sanding it again just to get the miters to look good, and I add some shellac. Not the best finish for the clock. The second clock I made here, I actually used polyurethane, and it turned out a lot better. I sand it down with 400 grit paper, and then I'll reapply another coat of it. I only did 2 coats. Really, like I said, didn't come out as great as I thought it would. Once the finish dried, I put the clock mechanism in it. You can see right here, the finish on this first clock wasn't exactly what I thought it would be, but the second clock really came out nice. You can see the colors very nicely on the face of the clock. Well, I appreciate you watching. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. All right, out.